With the dawn of a new year comes hope. Of sights set on a road that winds its way to every corner of the world. It's a road that leads to Indianapolis, Indiana, the homeland of the greatest racetrack in the world. The teams change, as do the drivers. The constant is the final destination, the Indianapolis 500-mile race. A chance to stand in victory lane.
Hello everyone, I'm Vince Welch. While it's cold outside of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum, the IndyCar season is about to heat up as the Indy Racing League opens in just days with the Indy 200 at Walt Disney World, presented by Aurora. Today, along with the voice of the 500, Bob Jenkins, we'll take a look at the IRL and its first season.
The Magic Kingdom, the home of Mickey Mouse, and an IndyCar race? That's right, the inaugural Indy 200 at Walt Disney World is set to take place Saturday, January 27th on the newly constructed one-mile tri-oval just inside the main gates of the Magic Kingdom. The 200-mile event will feature a $1 million purse and will be televised live by ABC television.
Well, I think what's going to happen is probably one of the greatest venues and races to come off in the last quarter of a century.
Official groundbreaking ceremonies took place this past summer, as the Indy 200 at Walt Disney World will be the first event for the newly formed Indy Racing League, or IRL as it's better known.
The Indianapolis Motor Speedway is the single largest spectator event in the world, and Walt Disney World is the #1 resort destination in the world. So putting the two together was just a natural fit for us.
The Indy 200 at Walt Disney World is designed to be the inaugural race in the IRL Championship Series that will now culminate each season with the Indianapolis 500 in May.
This is a novel situation, something that really I can't equate to anything that has happened in the history of motor racing, to have something called a league in motor racing. We have leagues in football and baseball and basketball and hockey and all that, but never really a league idea in motor racing.
The Indy Racing League will be an entirely oval-based series, the idea being to restore the heritage of oval track racing upon which the Indianapolis 500 was built.
Oval racing is obviously typically American. It was originally founded in the United States, and we've taken it to the highest level at Indianapolis. I don't think there's been quite enough emphasis on it over the years.
The Indianapolis Motor Speedway has been a part of the motorsports world for 80 years now, and we take that very seriously, and we felt that in order to be around for another 80 years that we needed to take a hard look at where we were and at what level we were contributing.
With 3 races in its first season of operation, one of the primary goals of the IRL will be to encourage the careers of young American race drivers within the IndyCar ranks.
There's a pool of talent out there that far exceeds 20 drivers in this country who can make great Indy racing cars go around ovals all over the world.
I'm sad to see so many of our tremendous drivers ending up in NASCAR. It's a great series and I go to all their races, but they don't need all of the best drivers. I'd like to see a few of them come to open wheel.
The concern being that Indianapolis car racing was created near the turn of the century as oval track competition, that's what the Indianapolis 500 is all about, and that the door is shutting on American oval track aspirants hoping to get to Indianapolis.
I think it's going to be a good thing for a lot of the midget and sprint car drivers and championship dirt car drivers. It gives them a chance to go show people what they can do.
We're all in favor of the foreign drivers competing, but we need a good balance, and I think if we get more oval tracks, we'll start bringing some of the young Americans up who have learned their skills on ovals, and that's maybe one of the main reasons behind the IRL.
The IRL's objective of an oval-based series is predicated on the foundation that there are simply too many road and street courses presently offered. Often that leads to a lack of passing, which in turn translates to a lack of excitement for the spectators.
I'm not saying they're right or wrong, or that I'm right or wrong. I'm just saying that this is what I believe, and it's what I've embarked on, and I've gotten a lot of support from people that believe the same thing.
That's what made Indianapolis oval racing. It wasn't the street racing, you know, good road courses, but you know, street racing, all that's Formula One, and that's not Indy type of racing.
We think that there are more than just 15 markets in the United States. The United States has almost 300 million people. There were 15 races in the IndyCar Series 50 years ago, and I think that this is an expansion of racing. It's good for racing, and I think that anybody who thinks that the two series is bad, you know, would have thought that expanding the NFL beyond eight teams was bad back in the 1960s when the AFL came along.
The differences between the present kart format and the IRL are numerous. No franchise fees are charged to teams in the IRL, and the idea for this in future years is a reduction in costs, making racing more affordable to the smaller teams.
We think that while racing is, and IndyCar racing particularly, is always going to be an expensive sport, it's now gotten to the point that the dollars are more a factor than all the other elements that go into the program. And the way you do that, or the way our solution for solving that, is we want to reduce the total cost of racing cars out on the track.
Beginning in 1997, the IRL will switch to normally aspirated V8 power plants, intended to slow speeds and cut costs. Switching to the production-based 4-liter motors found in some passenger cars will eliminate turbochargers and pop-off valves, and allow teams to work on their own engines, while encouraging more manufacturers to join the Indianapolis car ranks.
We don't want the technology to disappear, but we want teams and drivers, when they come to an Indy Racing League race, to feel that they're rolling out on a field, they've got an equal opportunity. If they perform well, they've got a chance to win a race.
Coming up, we'll take a look at the facility that will play host to the very first Indy Racing League event, the Indy 200, at the brand new Walt Disney World Speedway. We'll see the first tests on the track and get driver reactions to the new speedway. For months now, the racing world has anxiously awaited the debut of the 1996 racing season, a season that kicks off January 27th with the inaugural Indy 200 at Walt Disney World.
In just a few short days, the Indy cars will line up in front of better than 50,000 racing fans, each hoping to become the first to complete 200 laps around Walt Disney Speedway's very unique three-turn.
Well, I think it's going to be a very good racetrack. I think it's going to be a very good spectators racetrack.
It's a tricky little track. There's a lot of kinks in there that you think you can go through there wide open, but it's taking me time to get through there wide open.
I think it's very challenging because it has three completely different corners.
It's got little bits of all ovals that we race on. There's one corner that's similar to one in Phoenix. Two. Definitely a Disney corner. It's got a little bit of hump going into it that makes it pretty interesting, and it's a different circuit.
I would call turn 2 is the old dirt tracks like at DeQuoin, Illinois. It's a tricky little corner, but I think it's a very good corner.
You're going to name 2 the Disney corner? That's it. It is definitely the Disney corner.
It's turning a lot. There's a lot of turns here, so it's very short.
It's going to be very fast. Turn 3 looks to be a very fast corner.
I think it'll be a good racetrack. I think it'll be a lot of racing going to happen on it, a lot of passing.
Eddie Cheever was busy on the new surface. Team Menard anxious to continue the momentum gathered from last year's pole-sitting effort at Indianapolis.
I'm very excited about running more races, and 5 races for me for this year. The first time that we're going to run a full season is just about right, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Of course, one of the primary reasons the Indy Racing League was formed was to give young American-bred oval track drivers a forum for showcasing their racing skills. One of those reaping immediate rewards from the new league is super-modified standout Davey Hamilton. He'll drive for 4-time Indy 500 winner A.J. Foyt.
A.J. Foyt's the best teacher I think I could ever have, and I'm really excited of being here. The guys are excited, so we look forward to having a good, successful year, and I'm being taught by the best.
So you got the kind of magic you think you can turn into a champion?
Well, I think he does. You know, he's won races before. He knows what it takes to win, and that's what he wants to do, and that's what we want to do.
Hamilton was running strong in his bid to qualify a year ago at Indianapolis before a practice crash left him with a broken ankle. He nearly qualified anyway and is pumped up about the opportunity to be a part of the IRL.
I'm excited about the IRL and being here. And you know, I want to just be a race car driver, and I think the IRL is bringing opportunity to guys like myself who run super modifieds, midgets, and sprint cars. And I think if it wasn't for the IRL, that I would still be on the outside looking in. And I just thank AJ for giving me that call and giving me a shot at this thing.
Yeah, so we're back together again. It's unbelievable. My son was reading through...
While giving America's young drivers their chance is one of the primary goals of the series, it's not at the expense of excluding the foreign element. Five-time Formula One winner Michele Alboreto will drive one of Dick Simon's Ford-powered Lolas.
For me, it's much more difficult the oval, so at the moment I'm here just to be confident with the team, try to understand the car, and to be close enough to the wall without touching. So that's the target.
Well, Michele is a true winner, in my opinion. You know, he missed winning the championship in Formula One a couple of times by only less than a point, half a point or something like that. And when you get into that type of caliber of driver, you're very quick to adapt in any kind of a car. Michele is fit into that same mold. He did very well in the European type Formula One races and jumped into the IndyCar last time here, and he's having fun.
Though Dick Simon recently sold his 51% share of the team to Andy Evans, Dick has signed on as chief engineer and general manager of what is now known as Scandia Simon Racing, Inc. While Mexico's Carlos Guerrero is slated to run the kart circuit, Chile's Eliseo Salazar will represent the team in the ovals only IRL.
The venues that IRL has are unbeatable, you know, like Disney World, Vegas, so good for marketing opportunities. So I think it's going to be maybe a difficult year in the sense that everything is new, but I hope it's going to be a great season.
An incredible fourth for Simon at the Indy 500 a year ago as a rookie. Salazar will run the complete Indy Racing League schedule in 1996, in addition to all the ovals on the PPG IndyCar World Series schedule.
I believe he could have won Indy this last year, but he got caught up in the restart, 8 laps to go from the end, and ultimately ended up finishing 4th because of a mistake on the restart. I think he's got a lot of that behind him now, and I think if you were to rerun that restart last year that caused him to finish 4th instead of 1st, I think you'd find a different Salazar. He's got that much more confidence going into this year.
Proud owner of a brand new sponsor in Lifetime Television, Lynn St. James will also run a complete IRL schedule for Scandia Simon Racing. In 1996, the sky's the limit.
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to say that I could, you know, win the Indy 500 or have certainly a strong finish there. I mean, my goal is to win the Indy 500, to be the first woman to do that. You know, this year there's going to be one Indy 500, so that's where I intend to try to put a lot of effort on. But at the same time, I'd really like to have podium finishes in some other races.
While the race itself will be the highlight of the week, it won't be the only racing fans will be treated to during their stay at the Magic Kingdom. A Formula 2000 race has been added to the festivities. IndyCar qualifications precede the Formula 2000 race on Friday. It all gets underway next weekend when the excitement coming from the Magic Kingdom gives way to the roar of the IndyCars. And the magic that is Walt Disney World will turn another new page.
The inaugural Indy Racing League includes 5 racing venues with Orlando, Phoenix, Indianapolis, Loudon, New Hampshire, and the ultra-glitzy Las Vegas Speedway being hosts for the IRL's debut season.
Though Disney kicks things off, the second race of the 1996 IRL season, the Phoenix 200 at Phoenix International Raceway, is one of the oldest and most exciting venues on the IndyCar circuit.
We're very happy about being part of that anchor group, and we think it's going to be beneficial to the sport and competitors, and number one, our race fans.
The inaugural IRL season, however, will culminate with the crowning of a league champion following the Indianapolis 500 in May, meaning that 1996 will, in effect, be a three-race series.
The Indy Racing Series has always operated on a calendar year. Given that circumstance, you have the World Championship or the World Series happening at the end of May and right in the middle of your season. And operating just on the calendar year doesn't make sense.
Much like American football, the Indy Racing League is starting its season in the summer. And as it stands now, New Hampshire International Speedway will kick off the 1996-97 IRL campaign next August.
I tell you, it was something that we put a great deal of thought into. It wasn't a decision that we took lightly, but ultimately our decision was based on the fact that we were aligning ourselves with Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the Indianapolis 500.
The $125 million Las Vegas Motor Speedway will be the next venue on the 96-97 IRL schedule. The 1.5-mile tri-oval is presently under construction on the outskirts of the Las Vegas Strip, and its bowl-like configuration will feature not only room for 100,000 race fans, but also a glamorous people mover to shuttle spectators from the suites to the garage area.
First of all, being from Las Vegas and being in the gambling business, I knew there was no gamble going with Tony George in the IRL. Knowing Tony and his history and the family, they're winners, bottom line.
I think that the IRL will help oval racing tremendously because it will be really the driving force behind a whole new oval series and the building of ovals around the United States. I think that's extremely important.
We start with a modest series of 5 races the first year. We'd like to be at 8 the second year, and by the 3rd or 4th year we're going to be at 10 or 12.
The venues for the new Indy Racing League will continue to expand as the league settles in, yet much of the discussion continues to center around the point system adopted by the new league. In particular, the effect it will have on qualifying for the Indianapolis 500.
The fastest car will start in the first spot, the second fastest car will start in the second spot, and so on all the way through the field.
In effect, the IRL point system is designed to reward performance and participation in the league. Base points earned at each event would be multiplied by the number of races run by the entrant. The new scoring system is designed to provide starting slots at each venue to the top 75% of cars in the league standings. Thus, at Indianapolis, the leading 25 IRL participants would have spots secured in the field. But if and only if they can qualify within a predetermined percentage of that year's pole speed, whatever that might be.
The only thing that's happened is that the people who have come and raced with you all year, the people who have come and invested the money, sponsors who spent tremendous money on cars can expect that with a good team, with a job well done, with points well earned and properly accumulated, they're going to have a spot at all the races, and not just the Indy 500.
In addition to a minimum $1 million purse guaranteed for each event, the IRL will offer the only current $100,000 first place payoff in Indianapolis car racing for events other than the Indy 500. Each IRL race will be televised live on ABC. We'll be back with a look at Team Menard next. With the pendulum in motion for the initial IRL season, testing has begun, and in September, Team Menard became the first team to officially announce its intention of running the IRL series.
Third lap, what will it be? What will it be? And it's even faster. And it looks like we've got a new pole sitter, Scott Braden.
The Menard V6 stock lock engine was the toast of the town in Indianapolis last spring. For 8 straight days in May, the engine set fast time, recording the fastest unofficial practice lap in Speedway history. On qualifying day, horrendous weather conditions kept speeds down. Still, Scott Brayton put the Menard on the pole. And teammate Ari Lyondike lined up on the outside of row 1 as well. With 10 extra inches of boost compared to its competitors, the Menard was quick. But that advantage was lost on race day when both Brayton and Lyondike suffered pop-off valve problems. For 1996, Brayton returns with John Menard. While Menard is a proven superspeedway winner, last year's Indy pole sitter expects some adjustments to the engine for the shorter ovals.
We're here testing at the mile ovals to find out just how competitive this Menard V6 can be.
Well, the 1 mile tracks are definitely harder for the V6 because there's a lot more engine mass and it takes a lot more to get it going. And in Indianapolis, part of the secret is that you never have to lift.
Currently, we're almost 70 pounds overweight. Power band on the engine, very narrow. We're very low on RPM in the corner. So to get the revs up in the corner, we have to over-rev it on the straightaway.
Joining Brayton on Team Menard will be Eddie Cheever. Cheever teamed with A.J. Foyt a year ago, but rejoins a Menard team he finished 8th with at Indianapolis in 1994.
It's a very strong team. I'm very glad to be back here. There's a lot of technical support, and Menard makes sure that we have everything that we need to do the job properly.
While the task of adapting the powerful Menard to the smaller tracks will be a difficult one, it hasn't lessened the enthusiasm of Team Menard heading into the initial IRL season.
The team and myself, we're very excited that we get to go do some racing.
The thing that excites me the most, I think, as a driver for this year is the opportunity to run at Orlando and at Phoenix prior to the Indy 500.
I'm very excited. I think having your first race of the year in a place like Disney World is going to be great.
I came to work here for John Menard in '93, and one of the first things I wanted to do is change the image of the organization and get people to take us seriously. I think with what we've accomplished the last couple of years at Indy, they do. And we take the IRL very seriously. It's an oval series. We're an oval-oriented team. Team Menard feels that we must run up front in the series.
The first former Indy 500 winner joined the new league in November when 1990 champion Ari Lyondike came to terms with a new team, Jonathan Bird, Project Indy Racing.
Well, first of all, for me it's important to be at the Indianapolis 500. It's not so that, I'm not one of the youngest drivers out there, and I don't envision myself racing as long as Mario Andretti or A.J. Foyt. So for me it's really important to compete in the Indianapolis 500.
This is so special because it's the first time I could have an Indy 500 winner. This is going to give us an opportunity to win a championship series, win the whole league, as well as winning the Indy 500, which is my lifelong dream. I'm as happy as a little boy who's getting to see his every wish come true.
So that's our look at the Indy Racing League as we get set to kick off the very first season of the IRL in what we expect to be an exciting year. In just a few short days, we'll crown the winner of the inaugural Indy 200 at Walt Disney World. From there, it's on to the second stop on the IRL circuit, the historic Phoenix International Raceway in March.